In 2021, Thanasis Antetokounmpo signed a 2-year, $3.6 million contract with the Milwaukee Bucks. That's a lot of money for averaging 3.6 points in under 10 minutes of playing time.
That man right there got the best job security in the history of civilization right there.
Who's that, Scotty Barnes?
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Being the brother of Giannis certainly helped to secure the bag, but most NBA benchwarmers actually earn a similar amount. Could they earn more in Europe though? Let's take a look at the financial landscape of both leagues and answer the question: who earns more, a star in the EuroLeague or a benchwarmer in the NBA? Let's begin by defining what an average NBA benchwarmer is and what an average EuroLeague star is. When it comes to the benchwarmers in the NBA, I believe it's easiest to look at players' minutes. And surely it's gonna be subjective, but looking at all the NBA players and their stats, it seems to me that someone who plays under 10 minutes, with most of those minutes coming in a garbage time, is a benchwarmer. Now let's determine what a EuroLeague star is. It's important to understand the difference between NBA stars and EuroLeague stars. While the NBA community tends to look at the stats first, Europeans look at stats in a different way. For example, if a player is averaging a lot of points but is taking bad shots and his team is losing, then that's not really a star. Other things such as team defense or basketball IQ are also more emphasized. But for the purposes of this video, I'll have to look at some stats, so I chose to go with the player's efficiency rating, and that will be the main indicator for this video. Again, looking at last season's EuroLeague stat lines, it seems that the EuroLeague stars are averaging at least 14 efficiency points per game. Having all this out of the way, we can finally dive into the financial part.
It's not a liquid!
The minimum NBA salary varies from $1 to $3 million a year, depending on the player's experience in the league. The more years you play, the more you will earn. This is why veteran players earn twice as much as the rookies on the same minimum salary NBA contract. And obviously the reason I brought up the minimum contract is because most NBA benchwarmers, they earn around the minimum salary contract. There are also a few important distinctions when it comes to salaries between NBA and the EuroLeague. First of all, you can easily find any player's NBA contract details online, while in Europe that's not the case at all. Almost none of the clubs tend to reveal those numbers. Luckily, my colleagues at basketnews.com dug up last season's numbers. You can watch our video on top 10 highest earning EuroLeague players here. Secondly, NBA salaries are published in gross, meaning a big chunk of their money is paid for the taxes. This varies from state to state, but on average, an NBA player loses about half of their money to the taxman, which really changes the big picture. As I've mentioned before, the salaries might not be public in Europe, but the numbers we managed to find reflect what the players will actually earn. So it's now time to compare the two. Assuming that the benchwarmers in the NBA are earning a minimum salary, that is from $1 to $3 million per season, in reality, after they pay all their taxes, they're left with somewhere between $500,000 to $1.5 million per season. But what about Europe? Last year, most of EuroLeague stars fell in the range of $1.5 to $3 million per season, with an exception being Nikola Mirotic, who racked up $5 million that year. As you can tell from these numbers, the typical EuroLeague star earns about double the amount that the NBA benchwarmer does. But coming back to the first question of the video, whether a benchwarmer would earn more in Europe, first we need to understand, is it that simple for an NBA benchwarmer to come to Europe and become a star? Let's take a look at some real examples.
Derek Williams, oh, with the razzle-dazzle throw down as well.
After a promising start to their NBA careers, Troy Daniels, Yogi Ferrell, and Dante Exum became benchwarmers and decided to try their luck in the EuroLeague. Out of the three, only Exum managed to prove his worth, though it was still nowhere close to being a star. But it's not all set in stone yet. With time, it's possible for them to become stars in Europe. For example, after a mediocre EuroLeague rookie campaign, Wade Baldwin had a breakout season the following year and is now considered one of the best guards in Europe. So yeah, it seems that playing in EuroLeague can be more profitable for someone who's struggling for minutes in the NBA. But there's a very important condition. You must adapt to the European game and become a star. Otherwise, the safer route seems to be riding out the NBA bench and collecting the paycheck. Nick Stauskas is the prime example of this. After failing to get any playing time in the NBA, he decided to try the European basketball, and let's just say things did not work out for the Canadian. But then he came back to the NBA and joined the Boston Celtics, where he's just sitting on the bench and getting more money than he would in Europe. And let's be honest, being in the NBA is probably every basketball player's dream. Everyone hopes for the chance to prove themselves and earn not just a more significant role in the team, but also a bigger contract with that as well. In addition, most American players are not willing to leave their home country and live abroad, leaving their families behind, which I think plays a big role in these decisions. Meanwhile, Europe usually provides you with more minutes right away, you get a bigger role in the team, might be the leader of the team, and you also get to play in front of the craziest fans in the world. But guys, let me know what you would do. Would you rather sit on the NBA bench and get a little bit less money, or try your luck in the EuroLeague and try to become a star here? Let us know in the comments, and as usual, like the video and subscribe for more basketball content.